So I went out and watched a movie I was fairly curious about named Balan the Boy. If you've seen the trailer, you know the director has a story to tell. It seemed like a very interesting, different story, not following any formula. And I'm a big fan of the director, right? Especially after Manyamal Boy. So you would know this is directed by Chittambaram, who is supremely talented. And this movie is, would I recommend it for everyone? Absolutely not. I will tell you why. If you're curious about this movie, planning to spend a lot of your time to watch this movie because you will need it for this very, very long movie. If you're curious about it, stay till the end of the video. I'll tell you why I would not necessarily recommend it for everyone without spoiling anything. If you've just seen the trailer, and at the same time, is it a good or well made movie? 10 out of 10. In terms of perfection of movie making, as much as I know that I can see on the screen, every single frame here looks fantastic. In fact, I think this is one of those movies that will get studied in film schools, not just in India, but around the world. I do think this movie will get a lot of international film festival viewings, a lot of international buzz in that circle. But it certainly is not a commercial film for everyone. Let me just rave about number one, just the key crew, right? I spoke about the director. You have the writer Jittu Madhavan. I think he was also involved in Avesham. Fantastic writing, music. You know, I'm a huge fan of Sushin, even with the controversy of how original is he, and is some of his work copied. All of that being possibly true, I would still say he is the best when it comes to just the music that he provides, the way he elevates, every scene in the movie with really well thought out, sometimes even quirky music that you might think doesn't really fit here, but it absolutely does. So he's definitely got his own signature style. In fact, now people, at least in Kerala, go to watch a movie as soon as they see Sushin's name. There is a buzz around it, and rightly so. You've seen his work time and time again. I think he has not put a wrong foot forward in any movie where he is directing the music. And so this is really a dream cast as far as a perfect movie. I am personally super proud that Kerala can make movies like this, that we can show the world and people would say this is baffling technique, filmmaking, passion. It just oozes all of that in every frame and scene that you see in this movie. Like I said, every single person from the sound design to production design, cinematography is Shaiju Khalid. I don't think you can get better than that in all of India. So this is a top class crew, and every scene shows that this is made by a top class team. No one is compromised here. Now, second shout out is definitely the main cast. Now, as you can see in the trailer, the story really revolves around a mother and her son, and kind of the struggles that they go through. There's a bit of a mystery about them. Who are they? They seem to be on the run. You can get all of that from the trailer, right? But there are some other cameos that I don't think any reviewer should spoil it, but they are there. And I'll tell you that, going into this movie, I was blown away by the performances. I'm talking about, is that Farzana? That is the lead. She's phenomenal. I think, she has a huge, bright future ahead. I hope that Malayalam movie industry take her very seriously and cast her in many, many roles. She is deadly, right? She can play the role of that softness, at the same time that mystery, at the same time there's an edge about her, right? And she's able to do all three of those things with ease, right, at the same time. So she's fantastic. So is everyone else, especially the boys. And I say boys because you see a small version, you see an older version as well. Both of them you know both of them, applause to the way they performed. You can, and a lot of their performances is really in their eyes, right? They're able to emote a lot of innocence, fear, confusion, sorrow, all of that with their eyes. I was particularly impressed with I believe his name is Mohammed Zanan. Sadly, I really can't see a lot of images on him online. I think he is someone to watch out for, playing that teenage version of Balan the boy. And special mention to also Jean Paul Lal. I think he was cast perfectly. Again, Manuel as well, you can see him in that. So I think he does have great acting chops, and I think he played an amazing role in this one. Um, Huge shout out to, again, you'll see some of the performances. Like I said, I don't want to ruin everything. Go into this movie with little knowledge. I think you'll enjoy it a bit more. However, I do have a big gripe with this movie. Like I said, it's one of the most perfectly crafted, supremely talented crew and performances that you could ever see on the screen. And yet, one of the things that really holds back this movie for me personally is the runtime. It's way too long. Certain themes and scenes take way too long to play out. Especially, I felt the first part of this movie, we get the idea, we understand the two core characters. I felt like some of those things, at least by half an hour, stretched on a little too much, to the point where they saved maybe a little bit more events for the second half. And sometimes the payoff wasn't really there. The climax did not make full sense, but the emotional core is intact. And that's primarily because of the amazing storytelling, both by the director and, of course, the performances he was able to pull out as well. So every character really is memorable. I just wish the runtime was tighter. And I actually wish that they would make a second or a sequel. I would actually be curious to see where their journey would go. What would the second chapter look like? But entertainment value, though, was fairly minimal. You can just watch this, quite a bit. There's a lot of pretty things to watch. You are curious and you do care for the main characters, but sometimes the events just don't, they just take their own time. And, overall, I found myself looking at the watch quite a few times because the runtime is very long for this movie. And even the people sitting next to me, quite a lot of times they were pulling out their phone and checking, what's the time and all that. Especially in the second half, we felt like, where is this going? Like, get to the point, or let's move ahead a bit. But the director really took his time to set the characters, the setting. Everything felt very realistic. I don't think there was one false note in the movie in terms of either performances or in terms of believability, right? Everything you saw on the screen, every event, every situation felt very organic. And we know that's not easy to do. Take a look at the movies that's out there. I mean, we don't even buy the trailer, right? The moment we see the trailer, we're probably shaking our heads. Not with this movie. Extremely realistic. At times, it really felt more like a documentary. So if you're going in, especially like me, when I saw the trailer was cut, the editing was cut very quickly. It felt like a fast-paced movie with a very thriller kind of take on it. And that's not the case here. There is a mystery element. You're wondering what's the backstory, what really happened. Yes, but a lot of it is a slow burn journey. So be prepared for that going in, which is why I would not necessarily recommend this for everyone, right? I would recommend it to people that I think would like this kind of movie. Manuel is a great example, especially the first half. You can see how long the director took to establish the friendship, the setting, make it very organic. And the second half, though, had that high intense event and thriller event that saved it. But the first half can be fairly slow burn for some people. Here, I would say both parts, there's quite a lot of slow burn. So you have to be willing to be okay with it. I personally was, but at the same time, I thought the runtime was still too long, regardless of how well everything was shot. There was just a lot of scenes I felt they could, really tighten up, compact, or maybe those were not really needed. We'd get the point. In fact, this is one of those movies where I felt like a montage would have been great, a montage of scenes. Sometimes that's always my complaint, that key moments in a lot of movies just happen in a montage, right? So it's not really believable. But here, I don't even think there was any montages. A lot of it was, letting you sit with the scene, sit with the situations. It has its pros and cons. It will sometimes test your patience. You might be looking at the time a bit. So prepare for that. If you're okay with that, and you want to watch a really well made, well crafted, and high performances, this is definitely the movie to watch out for.